Hey guys, this is the Hard Time Strongman podcast, training up a better class of man. And today, we have another Dadisode for you. How to fail. But first, a dad joke.
You're up, buddy.
I'm up. Oh no, if only I could think of a dad joke.
I'm sure you have them on. Oh, you have your book. Yeah, fuck you.
I finally found it. What do the library police do?
I don't know.
They book people.
That wasn't even good. That was bad.
A sheep, a snake, and a drum fall off a cliff. Badum.
Jesus. You know what? I'm gonna go spicy.
Oh, please do.
I asked my dad for his best joke,
Okay.
and he said you.
Ooh. At least yours came back.
What did the horse say after it tripped?
What?
Help! I've fallen and I can't giddy up.
You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed on that one.
But I'm not.
What did Noah use on the
God.
ark to help him see at night?
I don't know.
Floodlights.
What do you call a cow in an earthquake?
What?
A milkshake.
What do you call a cow with no legs?
Not beef.
What do you call a cow with two legs?
Oh,
Lean beef.
fuck. I'm terrified of elevators. I'm going to take steps to avoid them.
You have it easy, man. I'm terrified of stairs. They're always up to something.
Two slices of bread got married. The wedding was amazing until someone decided to toast the bride and groom.
Oh my gosh. Wow. What's a good name for a foot?
I don't know.
Tony. What's a good name for a nail?
I don't know what you're going to tell me.
Rusty.
Rick Astley will let you borrow any movie from his Pixar collection except one. He's never going to give you up.
Oh my goodness. I knew what you were doing, and your delivery was perfect. I had no time to react.
Oh my god. I just watched a documentary about beavers. It was the best damn show I ever saw.
But the fish say what hit a wall.
I don't know.
Damn.
I got so excited that spring was here that I wet my plants.
What's the best plant for animals?
I don't know.
A zucchini.
Jesus.
I'm so sorry all of you had to listen to that.
Yeah, that is. Two peanuts were walking down the street.
Please stop.
One was assaulted.
Oh my. can't forgive you.
God.
I can't forgive you.
Why did the Invisible Man turn down the job offer? He couldn't see himself working there.
I fear it's because the interviewer wasn't transparent.
That's a good one too. Welcome to the Hard Time Strongman podcast.
Training
For
up a better
today,
class
we're
of
going to
man.
tell you how to fail.
How to fail. But first, big shout out to our very first patron, Ash. Ash, thanks for jumping in the dumpster fire. We appreciate you. You're going to burn so bright.
Yeah.
Helping
Patrons have
lights on.
access to all of our pre-show and post-shows, which is
Pre-shows,
where the magic
post-shows,
happens.
get our episodes early, get the first word on any new projects that we're working on, and more benefits to come. So, Ash, thanks for coming aboard. We are, well, we're up to a lot. We're going to be doing even more. So, back to the episode. How to fail. So, how do we even come up with this episode?
I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I know how we came up with it. I think we were just kind of going through topics, and this one jumped out because
Oh yeah, we
there's
were talking
not
about.
a
Yeah, we were talking about how we're kind of moving further from like, well, we're not moving away from, but we're exploring not just like step by step applicable,
right, the
like
practical
classes.
stuff.
Yeah, like practical data soils, but moving more into like life lessons. They're, data soils are, episodes on stuff that your dad's show taught you. And I feel like this is one that isn't just an outlier anymore. This is this is affecting a lot of people, and we're seeing that, the consequences of that in society now. So, how to fail, because you're not going to win all the time.
No.
You're going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot. And if you don't know how to fail the right way, if you don't know how to learn and grow from failure, if you don't know or you don't learn how to pick yourself up after that, then, that doesn't just affect, you and your development. I mean, that affects anybody that you come in contact with.
Right.
Anybody you have a relationship with is going to feel the effects of that.
Right.
So, this episode's a little more loosey-goosey because, I don't really recall my dad ever teaching me how to fail.
No.
Like my dad never taught me how, like he never sat me down and was like, hey son, I love you, but you're going to fail a lot. And, this is how to act and this is how not to act. We never had that conversation. I learned from, watching what he did, and, just, some conversations here and there as I grew and as I've been grown, and, just living my own life. But, I feel like this one specifically is too important not to talk about with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it'll hit home with a lot of people because I feel like the vast majority of people out there are probably more competitive with a lot of things than they're willing to admit.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, what's socially acceptable to be competitive about anymore, if anything? We live in really interesting times.
If by interesting you mean the participation trophy generation, then yes.
Yeah. Well, and I remember distinctly, and no ill will towards my dad, but just something that was so hard for me was that just somewhere it like, and like, it's kind of an aside, but generations kind of mirror and contrast from one generation to
Hmm.
the next, right? So if you
Yeah.
have a generation that's super harsh, super hard, just not about it as parents, that generation after them, is going to tend to be the opposite, right? Because you're trying to
Right.
give as a parent, you try to give your kids everything that you didn't have, right? So if you see a deficiency, then you're trying to build it for that. So oh, my kids aren't going to grow up how I grew up. They're going to have everything I didn't have. I'm not going to do this. And we see that
Well,
generation to generation, a lot of
the problem
overcompensation.
is exactly the problem is the overcomplication. The pendulum swings back the opposite way far too much and far too far, for lack of a better phrase. Like, I mean, you could even see that in politics. Well, I'll try not to get into that too much, but
Oh
I mean, you
gosh, I
see
mean that's the natural progression, though, isn't it?
it is. It's like you do something, and if somebody doesn't like it, they're gonna try and do the exact opposite. And when they do, they're gonna push it way too far, and it's gonna get a very bad reaction. And then the next generation's gonna push back the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it keeps swinging, and it's going farther and farther, and something's gonna give at some point. And that applies to parenting, competition. That implies it, politics, everything.
Well, and once you get that pendulum swing, it's so hard to make
Get
it
it to
land
stop.
somewhere in the middle again. It's so
Hmm.
hard to slow that down. But
Unfortunately, it does not know the laws of physics.
yeah. So do you want to roll into your notes first, or do you want to let me kind of knock mine out? Because you had a lot to, you had a lot to say in this episode, but I just kind of wanted to go through like bullet point, just like life lessons on failure. So we
Yeah, man,
can
go.
we can hit whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So for these Dadisodes, I imagine that I'm speaking to my boys when they're grown, right? That's how I kind of rationalize
Hmm.
these conversations in my mind, and kind of
Yeah.
how I conduct myself when we record these. But
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, so as a man, as a husband, as a father, a friend, and a leader, I don't demand victory in everything. I only ask that you try.
That's
Because,
good.
yeah, because you're not going to succeed in everything, at everything.
No.
You just won't. And the things that you do succeed in, it's probably not going to be on the first try.
Right.
Except for those very gifted, very talented people, just pick up something and immediately run with it.
I
It
mean, what was it?
takes effort.
It was what Thomas Edison who found what 10,000 ways to not make the light bulb before
Yeah,
he figured it out.
yeah. I mean, and what a great mentality to have,
Hmm.
right? Well, this is how not to do it. Okay, now I know for
Right.
next time.
Moving on. Yeah.
Right. You don't measure victory in its ease. You measure it in its reward.
Yes.
At least in the circles I've been in, it's, you don't get that pride of, oh man, I knocked that out, no sweat. It's, yeah, I got that done. It took me months to perfect this, but now I'm never going to get it wrong again because I've screwed this up in so many ways. I couldn't screw this up anymore. I found every single way to screw this up, and now I'm not going to do that anymore. And through that pain, right, through those growing pains, you learn how to teach other people, because you don't want to be able to fail the
Yeah.
same way that you did, right? So that's something that I think is really important, is to to understand that and to recognize pain and failure for what they are, which are excellent teachers.
And honestly, dude, like I I feel like so many people that I've met, the ones who things come easy to them don't have the best character
Oh yeah.
because they just expect everything to go their way. The ones who have had to fight for everything, work for everything, like
Mm-hmm.
struggle, they're the ones who are the most humble. They're the ones who aren't going to brag
Yeah,
when they win. They're the ones who aren't going to cry, throw temper
when
tantrums when they
something doesn't go their
lose.
way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Like those are the ones I want to surround myself with.
Yeah, well, it goes back to like, did you earn it? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Like, did you earn it? Like, did you earn, your stripes, right?
You're
you know,
right. Right.
it's, you know, I'd much rather listen to somebody who, has spent years learning something than someone who, spent a couple months and got a degree or, got a certificate. I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather learn from the guy who was in the mud, getting after it and, wrestling and actually learning this stuff like in his bones over somebody who, had it handed to them,
Right.
essentially 100% every single time. But something else that we, talk about and that we've talked about in the past is the idea that nothing is wasted. And you need to think about that in when you think about failure.
Yeah. Keep it in context.
Yeah. Every, no matter what it is, no matter what you're trying, no matter what you're, trying to perfect, if it's a skill, if it's a task, whatever you're trying to do, every time that you fail at it, every time that you come short, you need to take that for what it is, which is an opportunity.
Right.
Nothing is wasted. The only time that everything's wasted is when you let it be. The only
Mm-hmm.
time that you allow something to be wasted is when it's wasted.
Yeah. If you
Because
don't allow something to be a lesson, then it's wasted.
yeah, you can learn anything. You can
Right.
learn anything. You can learn from anything, even if it's what you aren't supposed to do. You can, and that's the thing with leaders too, right? You can have the best leader ever, like on the planet. You can learn so much from them, but you get one crappy leader, right? And I learned more from crappy leaders in the army than I ever did from excellent leaders, because I learned what not to do.
Lot to do. Yep.
I learned what not to be, and
Yep.
that can be your litmus test right there. Like we said
Oh,
with
yeah.
a couple episodes ago about um like being the man that you want to be, like making the man that you want to be, right? So even if you are just like, all right, I don't know what exactly I need to be like, but I know what I don't want to be, so I'm gonna do the opposite of that. And there you go, you're far along than you were before.
Right.
Every struggle, the and just that grit to continue on, while your heart's still beating, while you still got air in your lungs, you can still try. There, as far as I'm concerned, there's never a an end state. While we're still here, we can still be learning, we can still be getting better. You still have something to give.
What's that last part
What do you mean?
that you have written down?
Oh, last part I've written down is, while your heart still beats, while you still have breath in your lungs, you can try again. You're not done until you're dead.
Hey, everybody. This is 6 and 7 with the Hard Time Strongman podcast, and we are coming to talk to you about our Patreon and Discord.
Hey guys, our patrons get early access to all of our episodes. They get all of our exclusive pre and post shows, all of our spicy takes, all of our rabbit holes that we go on, everything that we want to include in an episode, but we can't because we need to stay on topic. And soon enough, we will be offering digital downloads, guides, everything that we've been working on in the background will soon be available to our patrons. So make sure to check it out.
And come hang out with us on Discord. Speaking of the spicy stuff, this is where we discuss most of it. Once you're there, you'll get access to all of our in-depth discussions, including stuff like homesteading, fieldcraft, medical, camping, communications, shooting. You like ARs? Come talk to us about it. You like 4x4 vehicles and prepping? Come talk to us about it.
You like tannerite, thermite, napalm? Come talk to us about it. All of the campfire talks that would get us kicked off of other platforms, it's right there in our Discord. Come join our community.
We're active on Discord every day. We're interacting with members constantly. We have guys from every walks of life coming to contribute their expertise to all of these various fields and subjects that we've been talking about.
Come join the Discord. Come join the Discord. Join our community. Build up that better class of man. Now back to the episode. Not dead yet.
Not dead yet. That is the first thing that I wrote in my notebook when I went into basic training, just to remind myself that every time I opened it up, no matter what kind of a day I was having, I wasn't dead yet.
Awesome.
I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep pushing through whatever the hell happens to me that day.
Not dead yet.
So you're not dead yet. So that brings me in, and I did have a lot to write because I took it from the aspect of I'm looking at how to fail in competition, how to fail in business, and how to fail in life.
You're looking
But
at it as
I'm
a
not
tool.
a tool, exactly. And I'm not talking about like just teaching how to fail. I'm teaching you how to fail gracefully, how to fail effectively, how to fail humbly, I guess. So when you fail in competitions, whether it be baseball, basketball, sports, indoor drumline, volleyball, whatever you're doing and it's a competition,
Spades.
spades. If you fail, just congratulate the winner right away. Hey, good game, man. Nice job. Good play. Thanks a lot.
Well done. Yeah.
Well done. Yeah. Think about the real world consequences or lack thereof of whatever you're doing. Like, does this loss actually affect me? Like, is this going to ruin my life? Is this going to prevent me from getting a scholarship? Is this going to prevent me from going to the bigs? Usually it doesn't. Let it go, you know? Remove yourself from the situation. If you're getting heated, walk away, man. It's not worth lashing out because then it goes to your character. It goes to your personality. And in the court of public opinion, those that lash out are usually guilty.
Well, that's
Like
what I
you get
was.
looked down upon.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Your character, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
being the first to congratulate the winner, right? So, for me, that means a couple things, right? So that proves your character, right? Your integrity, in
Mm-hmm.
the sport, in the competition, whatever, right? But that also puts you on, it's yeah, you lost, right? But you're putting yourself on that equal footing with the person who beat you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not punching down. It's as an equal. You know,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you didn't just win. You beat me. Good job.
Right. That's
You know,
that's a good way of looking at it
that's
too. Yeah.
powerful. That's powerful. That's not just powerful for you. That's for everybody too. It's like, oh, this guy, whether he won or not, like this guy's serious. Like he's actually, taking this seriously. That's powerful. But also, like you said, core public opinion, this isn't the first or last time you're going to fail, right? And,
No.
if you're in any kind of league, if you're in any kind of organization, this isn't your first and last interaction with these people. And people take notes on, you know, who fails gracefully, who lose gracefully, and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And, that sets you up for success or failure later on. So if you prove yourself to have that character and to be that bigger, better man, that pays dividends, if not right now, in the future.
Right. And that leads into, you can be a graceful loser, but you should also practice being a graceful winner.
Yeah.
Like your opponent came out and did what they had to do. Like they tried their best, and if you still beat them, give them props. You know, like if it was a struggle, even if it wasn't, give them props. It's all about being graceful, being humble.
Well,
You
was
can,
it Teddy Roosevelt that had that quote, "The man in the arena"?
I don't know if that was
Or
him, but I do know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
you know the quote I'm talking about, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of where you sit skill wise, or anything, right, in any kind of competition, the fact that you are meeting someone on that, for lack of a better term, on the field, right? The fact that you're
On
meeting
that
someone
battlefield.
on that field on equal footing, like that should be the biggest thing to you. That's what
Yeah.
actually
Point of
matters,
pride.
because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, what the skill difference is. Like you were meeting, like in that moment, you were meeting them as equals on the field as opponents, right? Whether that's in business and competition and life, whatever, you were meeting someone on equal footing and you're going to see who's best,
Right.
So that, you know, meeting someone out there, putting yourself out there to win or lose, that's huge.
Exactly.
You put yourself out there, to do it. You became vulnerable for that. That's more than a lot of people can say. A lot more than
Right.
people who try to play it safe.
Exactly. Exactly. And above all else, in the end, remember why you're playing. If you're there to play to have fun, remember that. Don't get overheated about it. Like you were there to play and have fun. Have fun. Even if you lost, you probably still had fun. In business, this this is a bit of a different mindset because if you fail in business, that could be a major financial impact on your life. So it's really, really, really important to keep your head straight with this kind of stuff. So if you fail, you need to be able to adapt and adjust. So to
100%,
begin
man.
with, you need to look forward, not backwards. It's not about your failures. It's what you're going to do from here on out. It's not what happened. It's what you're going to do going forward. It's what we talk about with our improves and sustains. Like, what can you do differently? What worked? What can you keep going? You need to take measured risks. So if you're in a company and they're have a certain way of doing things, or you have a certain way of doing things, you need to be able to, especially if they aren't working, take those things that you're doing, but maybe modify them a little bit to try something new. Or you need to be able to be willing to completely try something just drastically different. It's about taking risks, but they need to be risks that you can also control.
Measured. Well,
Measured.
that's what I was
Exactly.
gonna say. So last three things you said, right? So improve, sustains, and then making adjustments. This has to come from a mindset that is objective.
Yes.
In life, right? But especially in business, this needs to be objective. You need to be able to look
Yeah.
objectively. You need to be able to measure things out, see measured change, right? Take yourself, take your ego, everything, emotions out of it. You know,
Emotions at the door.
leave your emotions at the door. Look at things objectively,
Mm-hmm.
so you can make smart decisions. Because your emotions will play tricks on you. Your relationships will play tricks on you. Everybody
Yes.
has blind spots, but in
Yes.
business, if you're you know if you're going for success, right? If you're trying to be successful, you need to be able to look at the data, whatever that data is, whatever that means for you, and be able to steer that to. I said what that means to you. I'm what I meant was, whether that is finances, time, uh, partnerships. You need to be able to, in your context, look at things objectively.
Yeah. And when I gave you that look, you had a huge skip in your video. So did you just have like a huge lightning strike?
I heard one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It
I was
is
like,
stormy in
dude.
Texas tonight.
Yeah. So along with that, you need to be able to ask for criticism. You need to be able to ask for feedback on what you do because, like you said, be constructive about it. Leave your ego at the door. Take what's being told to you as a way to improve. You know, look at things from someone else's perspective on this because, like you said, you can have blind spots. Be willing to be wrong. Holy crap, so many people have an issue with this because of their ego. Like, they can't be wrong. It's someone else's fault. They're not willing to take responsibility for stuff they've done. Take your ego, your point of view, and toss it aside. It doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't. It's a guaranteed, sure way to fail if you are taking your ego and your point of view only into uh, into consideration.
Into account. Yeah.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. Be big enough to admit that. I will be the first if I screw up to be like, I messed up, man. I was wrong. Period. My wife may say differently, but I'm the first one to say I'm wrong. No, no. If we all have our points of view and we think we're right, but when the truth comes out and you see that truth, you got to be man enough, woman enough, big enough, whatever, to say I was wrong. So if you fail in business, be able to admit that you were wrong, that you screwed this up, that this is not what you thought it was going to be, that this is not what you thought was going to happen. And from there,
be ready to fix it. Be ready to change it.
exactly.
You know, it's not enough to say, "Oh, guys, I am so sorry. I really screwed this up. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing." No. You know, guys, I screwed up. What do we need to do to fix this so this does not happen again?
And that's my last point. Learn from your past mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes too. History is bound to repeat itself unless you're willing to make the change.
Yep.
You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again because that is the very definition of insanity.
Can't expect a different result.
Exactly. So that leads us to life. Life lessons. Failing in life. It all happens. You know, we've all done stupid things. We've all had stupid things happen to us. Whether it's in your control or out of your control, it doesn't matter. You need to approach it the same way. So keep everything in perspective. You know, it's being able to keep something into perspective is very indicative of mental strength. You need to be able to check your emotions and keep yourself being productive no matter what. Like you could be having the worst week of your life, but if you're still pushing forward, if you're still pushing towards your goals, then you're on the right track. You need to practice self compassion. Just because you screwed up doesn't mean that you need to bash yourself internally. You shouldn't be talking down to yourself. That is a great way to put yourself into depression and to keep yourself failing. You know, you should be your best friend. Like you need to talk to yourself the way you would talk to your most trusted friend. Definitely don't talk to yourself the way that you and I talk to each other because, you know,
yeah,
go f yourself and hope you die a horrible death. But
also the voice that you talk to shouldn't have like different thoughts than you do.
Correct. Exactly. You know,
That's
be kind to yourself. Be
that's
supportive.
a really important one, guys.
Yeah. Be supportive. You know, give yourself encouragement. Just because you screwed up does not mean that you need to bash yourself. You of all people should be your best cheerleader.
Yeah. Well, and sorry, it's not on your list, but I just thought of a just a contextual thing, right? So try to work into your point of view life in seasons.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like you're going to have seasons of success.
Okay.
You're going to have seasons of failure, seasons of sickness, right? You know, try to, you know, seasons of depression. So, you know, if you find yourself caught in something, you know, just, you know, it's just a season. You know, this too shall pass. You know, this isn't the first time this happened. And, you know, I got out of it last time. I'm going to get out of it this time. You know, our lives are so short, but they're also so long. You know, time is a fickle thing. It's a funny thing. But
even along those lines, we have a definite amount of time on this earth. So bashing yourself and wallowing in your failures is a waste of your time.
Yeah.
You talked about nothing is wasted. That is very much wasting something, everything by doing that. Like I love that perspective of the seasons because that's how business is. That's how life is.
Yeah.
That's how competitions are.
But
like
you
all
can
this
even
is
but you can even see that. So if you had 6 months that you were just depressed, you know, not eating, not, you know, being productive, doing the bare minimum of everything, and then you get out of that, you dig yourself out of that, you know, with your friends, with your family, and then you look back like, oh yeah, I'm never doing that again. Screw that. Like that's not how I want to live.
That goes
That's,
back to my point about businesses. Learn from your past mistakes.
yeah, but that's where I'm saying like nothing's wasted.
Yeah,
It's,
agreed.
if you don't let something be wasted, like you can use that. You can use that as fuel. Use every failure, every,
Yes.
like every time someone tells you you can't do something, or every time someone doubt you, use that as fuel, man. Burn it, burn that fire higher. Like, keep
So,
going.
so
Crush your
personal
enemies.
story.
See them driven before you.
Yes.
Hear the lamentations of their women. Let's go, kings.
Drink from the skulls of your enemies.
Yes.
So personal story. When I was in high school, I did indoor percussion in Indiana, and I can't remember what year it was, but we went out. We thought we were doing great, but I had an inkling we weren't going to finish so well. We went into the final competition of the season, and we ended up third. We were pissed.
Hmm.
Like, we used that as fuel. We came out the next year, we were destroying everyone at every competition. I'm talking like point scales goes from 0 to 100. We were 10 pointing second place every time, if not higher. I think we actually 20 pointed somebody
Goodness.
one of the competitions right before state finals. We came
Dude.
out and freaking destroyed people. We were on a tear, and we
Whole other level.
destroyed everybody all year long. We were so pissed. We used that as fuel, and it was awesome. We got to the end, and it was just like, oh, sweet justice, sweet, sweet justice.
This is what I deserved. Yeah.
Yes, makes made up completely for the previous year. So that being said, next point is choose to be grateful, be humble. You had the opportunity to try. Remember that you had the opportunity to try. Doesn't matter if you fail. Make sure you look for the blue skies beyond the gray clouds. Like, there is a silver lining to everything. And just be grateful that you had the opportunity to do it. You know, even in love, it's just like, okay, yeah, your relationship failed, but at least you had the opportunity to love. You had the experience. That means something. Respect your vulnerabilities. So you got weaknesses. Make sure you know what those are. Take the time to identify those weaknesses, be self aware, and use them to be better. So, yes, you have these weaknesses. You can improve on them to become strengths. People don't realize that. Yes, you have weaknesses. Those weaknesses can be your strengths. They can play to your already strengths to become better strengths
Well,
and acknowledge. Go ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say,
No, you're good.
a point that we made earlier. The most dangerous thing to have in your blind spot is yourself.
Yes,
You should not be a mystery to yourself. That is
correct.
the most dangerous, stupid thing you can do. If you don't know
Yeah.
yourself, you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna do anything.
So, you know the phrase know that enemy?
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that that's actually talking about yourself because you are your biggest enemy.
Yeah.
Always.
You are your biggest struggle.
Mm-hmm.
The what's that? I don't remember how the old adage goes, but you're you're playing yourself, or your biggest opponent is yourself, right? So you're
Correct.
going out, you're not fighting, you're not racing the next guy, you're racing yourself, you're pushing past yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
you're the only one that can limit you at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that being said, acknowledge your strengths. Like, know what your strengths are, but take your ego out of it. Don't brag about this to others. People that are bragging about, like we talked about earlier, people that brag about their strengths, actually weak minded people.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who, when they lose, they're crying. They're
Yeah.
crying on the sidelines. Oh, this person cheated. Oh, they did this. Like, no, no, you got played. Someone played better than you. Be humble. Congratulate them.
Mm-hmm.
No, see your successes, know what they are, and move on. Keep going. Great.
Well, don't
You
dwell on
did
them.
this.
Be proud, have
That's
pride
better.
in your
Yeah.
work, have pride in
Mm-hmm.
what you've accomplished, but don't stay there. That's like the guys who peak in high school, or peak during GY. I don't care what you did 10, 15 years ago. I care about what you're doing now. That should be your focus. Your focus should be in the now and looking forward. Not dwelling on your accolades. Doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything for you now. A license or a board on the wall, means nothing. At the end of the day, it's what you're doing with it that counts.
Exactly. I couldn't have said that better, man. So create a plan to become better. So, like you said, acknowledge your failure. So know that failure is actually part of the path to success. Each failure is just, like we said, one way of not succeeding. And keep that mindset. Every time you fail, it's like, okay, I messed up. This is one way to not succeed at what I was trying to do. And keep going. Maintain your healthy self-worth. We talked about this earlier. Know your self-worth, kings and queens. Like, know it. Love it. Do not settle for less than what you deserve. Never, ever settle. Value your place in life. You are worth something. You are worth a lot to not just to yourself, but others as well. Don't ever think less of yourself, especially in failure. Don't ever do it. Don't talk down about yourself to anyone or even to yourself. Make sure you keep your confidence high. Even if your confidence is shattered because something happened, rebuild yourself internally. Like, man, that sucked. All right, we're going to do this. We're not going to let this happen again.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do, no matter what happens.
Well, and, something to think about too, like we both had seasons, right? Season of depression, of, hard times, right?
Yep.
But something that helped me along the way was, even if I was in the worst place, right? Something that would help me keep going is, it might get better tomorrow.
It's true.
I don't know. I don't have that promised, right? I have a promise that's going to be hard. That's promised to me. That was told to me. But I don't know if it's going to be better tomorrow, but it might be. And I want to stick around and find out.
Exactly. And the thing you need to promise yourself is that you need to promise yourself that you're going to bust your ass to try to make that happen. Mm-hmm. Like, you aren't guaranteed anything.
You need to carve it out. Carve it out yourself.
Exactly. And honestly, man, like I say this all the time, jokingly, but I'm serious about this. The only fair fight is the fight you win.
100%.
Like, give yourself every advantage. Mm-hmm. Every advantage. Fight for everything that you have, like your life depends on it, because it might.
It does.
And honestly, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're suffering from depression, know that you are. Even if you don't see it and someone says something, take that to heart. Get help. Like, it is, like you were talking about with depression, it is not worth not seeing the sunrise. Because no matter what, that sun's going to come up tomorrow. The world is better off with you in it to see that sunrise. Period.
100%.
Know your self-worth.
And this has always been, or not always been, but this will continue to be in our our episode descriptions and in our resource list. But 988 is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You also reach out on 988lifeline.org. But like you said, world's better with you in it. It's worth sticking out to see.
It is. Because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. It could end up being the best of your life and everything could turn around. You aren't going to know it if you aren't there to see it.
100%. I wanted to close out this episode with that quote from Theodore Roosevelt, titled "The Man in the Arena."
Send it.
Is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or whether doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, with the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. It's worth it to try.
Dare to dream.
It's always worth it to try. It is better to live a life full of failure than a life where you never attempted anything. That is not who we're called to be. We're called to be so much more.
Yep. We missed Mental Health Month too. I think that was last month.
Was that? Or was it this month?
Yeah. I think it was May.
Whatever. It's always Mental Health Month here at Part-Time Strongman.
Honestly, it is.
Change your socks. Drink water. Don't skyline yourself on a ridgeline. Don't add or subtract from the population. Don't end up in the hospital, the newspaper, or jail. If you do end up in jail, establish dominance quickly. Wool's better than cotton every time. In literally every way. The only thing that cotton has going for it is that it's cheap, but it'll literally kill you. It retains, smells and moisture. It has no, thermal qualities when it gets wet, unlike wool. So wool will insulate you, so it'll keep you, warm when it's cold, or cooler when it's warm. Wicks moisture, doesn't hold on to the scents. Keeps its thermal qualities when it's wet. Also helps protect you from, thermal imaging. Hey, Taliban.
You are rambling. Close this out.
It's a Dadisode. I'm trying to stuff as much dad information in there. If you ever flood your chainsaw, son, listen, take off the cover, take out the filter, okay? Full choke, rev it till it goes, put it back on, and keep freaking cutting. Guys, this is Hard Time Strongman Podcast, training up a better class of man with a Dadisode. Thanks for listening, and stay in the fight.